This is your communication podcast with Teresa. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new persuasive theory. See what I did there? Yes, we are moving on to the different theories to do with persuasion, and there are quite a few that we have to get through. We want to start off with the easy ones, the attitude change theory, as well as the theory of reasoned action or planned behavior. I'm saying they are easy because you already know quite a bit about attitudes. We have pointed out in our definition of persuasion that you can sustain, form, or change people's attitudes and behavior. And this is not the first time that I mentioned to you that attitudes are supposedly the precursor for behavior. If you feel strongly about something, you are more likely to act on something. And attitudes are an inclination that you have toward a topic. To use a new example that I haven't brought up before, if you have strong positive attitudes toward your degree, your behavior should actually mirror this strong positive attitude. And you will hand in your stuff on time, you will make sure that your assessments are of good quality, and so on and so forth. This is the major idea behind attitudes and their bearing on our behavior. The attitude change theory basically spells out exactly what I said. The assumption that behavior is determined by our attitudes or how we feel about a certain idea, about certain people, or about certain products. And of course, organizations try and establish positive attitudes about their products in your minds. But actually, the root of attitude change theory is not so much in the commercial sector, but in the political sector. Politicians forever have tried to change your attitudes so that you are prompted to vote for them in the elections. But what happens once the election comes around? You might even have some attitudes toward certain candidates or certain parties. But then it's a rainy day and you don't feel like getting out, or something else is happening. So your attitudes do not translate into actual behavior. Because of this break between attitudes and behavior, and because of the lack of explanation why certain attitudes do not culminate in behavior, some other guys actually started researching this particular phenomenon. And they came up with the theory of reasoned action and the theory of planned behavior. Now, you can see on my slide, I have both of them as part of the overview. On top in the green shades, you see the theory of reasoned action, and there is an add-on you can see in red, which is the theory of planned behavior. Let's talk about the theory of reasoned action first. It basically says that everything that we do is based on a very careful evaluation of costs and benefits. I call bullshit. Sorry guys, I know it's a bad word, but you know exactly, going back in the past, that you very rarely act based on a careful evaluation of costs and benefits. So basically, the theory of reasoned action says there are certain external variables. Based on these external variables, you will form some behavioral beliefs. For example, you will evaluate the behavioral outcome. You will have normative beliefs, which is the ideal situation, and you also have certain beliefs about the motivation to comply. So, for example, when your parents are saying something, you are quite motivated to comply. Anyway, these external variables will culminate in certain attitudes and certain subjective norms. The word subjective norms basically just means that other people who are important to you have certain expectations, and these expectations will actually be part of your decision to act in a certain way or not. It's not just important people who have this effect on you, it is society as a whole, so that would be a normative belief. Based on the attitudes that you have formed and the subjective norms that you have identified, you will then intend to behave in a certain way or not. And then the intention, of course, can culminate in the actual behavior. It makes beautiful sense, and this reasoned action model has been used extensively in the medical field when people wanted to know why patients do follow or do not follow a particular treatment path. For example, they would say cost-benefit analysis of taking TB tablets, the benefits far outweigh the costs. Actually, the costs are quite severe. You can lose your life if you do not use your TB medication. Evaluation of behavioral outcomes. If I stop taking my medication for TB, the behavioral outcome will be a worsening of my condition and possible death. The normative beliefs are society wants you to take your medicine for TB, and the motivation to comply is maybe your family begging you to actually take the medication. So you can see here your attitudes are positive toward taking the medication. The subjective norms are also positive toward taking this particular action. But why, oh why, do some people still not take their TB medication? And this is exactly the shortcoming that they are talking about with the reasoned action. We are not reasonable. Laziness comes into it. Comfort comes into it. So there are so many variables that actually determine our behavior. And the theory of planned behavior that you can see at the bottom kind of accounts for us being more complex than the theory of reasoned action stipulates. We are not robots who just fall into a mold of cost-benefit analysis. We are human beings who have control beliefs, who perceive power in society. We are human beings who feel more or less confident about doing certain things. And all of these things play into your decision to behave in a certain way. So the theory of a planned behavior, which was developed by Eisen, basically adds a perceived behavioral control as an important component to behavioral intention. So how much control people think they have over their behavior. For example, if you have TB and you're living in a rural area, how much control do you really have in you going on a health path of taking your medication if you maybe not even get to the medication in the first place? Guys, I know this is a little bit hard to understand, but researchers have for a long time tried to explain behavior, and these two theories, as well as attitude change theories, are very prevalent in the realm of attitudinal research. So you would probably do well to just know some of the pillars of these three theories. I hope you enjoyed it, Schnookies. Until next time, bye!